Have you ever heard of the Battle of the Bulge? It was one of the deadliest battles for American forces in World War II. Imagine the scene. December 1944, the Ardennes Forest, freezing cold, snow everywhere, and the German army launches a massive surprise attack. But when she saw the sheer number of wounded American soldiers pouring in, she knew she had to do more. She went to the American aid station, run by a surgeon named Jack Pryor, and simply said, "I am a nurse. I want to help." They were desperate. The aid station was a makeshift setup in a former barracks with barely enough supplies. The conditions were horrific. It was freezing, shells were exploding all around them, and casualties kept coming. Most people would have been terrified, looking for any way out. In fact, many of the other nurses at the civilian hospital had been evacuated for their safety. Everyone expected Augusta to leave too, but she didn't. She stayed. For days on end, Augusta worked tirelessly alongside Dr. Pryor. She put on an American Army uniform over her clothes to stay warm and blend in, even though it put her at greater risk if captured. She braved sniper fire just to fetch water. She comforted dying soldiers, treated gruesome wounds, and did everything she could to save lives in the middle of a frozen hell. She was a beacon of hope and compassion when everything seemed lost. One night, the aid station took a direct hit from a German bomb. The building was destroyed. Tragically, around 30 wounded soldiers and another volunteer nurse were killed in the blast. Augusta was in an adjacent room and was blown through a wall, but miraculously she survived. Covered in dust and debris, she immediately got back up and went right back to work, pulling survivors from the rubble and tending to the wounded amidst the wreckage. She didn't stop. When the siege was finally lifted and Bastogne was relieved, Augusta just went back to her life. She didn't seek fame or recognition. It wasn't until years later, when historian Stephen Ambrose mentioned the black nurse from the Congo in his famous book Band of Brothers, that people started searching for her. They found her living a quiet life in Belgium. In 2011, at the age of 90, Augusta Chiwi finally received the recognition she deserved. They're also the ordinary people who, in extraordinary circumstances, show superhuman courage and compassion. See you next time.